Hello, everyone listening. Welcome back to Swamp Stories. Today we're talking about the history of Mortal Kombat from beginning to now.
Mortal Kombat was started simpler and more digitized as a way of competing with Capcom's then new Street Fighter II. As of 1993, about a year after it came out, Mortal Kombat had reached 3 million plus sales, while Street Fighter was a bit more above at 5 million sales. But it wouldn't last for Street Fighter since, they weren't going to do as well.
Especially at that point in time when the arcades were kind of the peak thing and fighting games were all over the place. And Mortal Kombat had one thing a lot of other fighting games didn't have. It was what most people know it for, its nitty-gritty violence, fatalities and stuff like that, which garnered a lot of notoriety and popularity with, the teenager crowd and such. As time went on, Mortal Kombat grew as a franchise, including the sales, and after a while, Mortal Kombat brand itself beat out the majority of the Street Fighter series in sales, went on to become one of the most popular video game franchises of all time, with any game that would come out in the series being a major success. They would carry on using the 2D fighting game things, but then eventually, when home gaming systems started to appear, they started to branch out into the 3D game market, leading to games like Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Dark Deception, which were widely held and regarded as being some of the greatest Mortal Kombat games to come out, using the revolutionary 3D software for the time, allowed for new characters, moves, and just all around a new way to play. But including the branch out into the 3D game market, Mortal Kombat also dipped their toes into a style of franchising that very few game series had been successful in, movies, with the Mortal Kombat live-action movie series being relatively really well acclaimed and earning a lot of money in its runs in the cinemas. It was widely regarded as being one of the only good video game movies coming off of the heels of the relatively lackluster movies of the past, and most importantly, absolute flops like, for example, the Mario movie. And in that time, it allowed it to grow as a brand and branch out to more people. It did not just become a video game franchise, it branched out into all sort of things. Comics, books, movies, even more games. Even some TV shows were produced for a short period of time, even though it didn't really go anywhere. It allowed the brand to branch out and become, more notable.
This podcast is sponsored by nothing. We are doing this because of digital media arts. As of recently, Mortal Kombat's new game, Mortal Kombat 1, was a nearly instant success, just about overshadowing Street Fighter 6, the most recent game in the Street Fighter franchise. Included in the game is a single-player mode, multiplayer mode, story mode, and training mode. It also includes old mechanics from older games and a new mechanic called cameo fighters, which are characters that help you in battle.
On the topic of Mortal Kombat 1, if you truly want to understand Mortal Kombat 1, for example, its story, you kind of have to understand the game that came before it. Mortal Kombat 11, it was relatively rocky as Mortal Kombat games go. A lot of people do not like it because of how it just changed characters for no real reason. But a way NetherRealm, the game studio behind it, managed to get around it was by doing a full-on timeline restart, with one of the main characters, Liu Kang, becoming the god of the universe. And in that time, he practically, like I said before, restarted the universe, making everything in a far more better image, which allowed for characters that had died in the previous timeline to come back, or just have better characters. And in Mortal Kombat 1, in its story mode, you can expect a relatively similar return to form from the original games. For example, just the standard tournament, but it's lacking some things. Tournament, as Liu Kang has remade the universe, been made into a far more peaceful version of itself. For example, you can't kill an opponent, stuff like that. But at the same time, the characters can also notice deep underlying things. For example, when they first arrive in Outworld, they notice one thing: a group of people being cattled out as for harboring or people who have a disease known as Tarkat.
That's all we have to say. To everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. See you all on the next episode of Swamp Stories.